win on Sunday and an off day yesterday. The Brewers make their way to Chicago. We're on the north side, the home of the Cubs, Wrigley Field, Chicago. It's the Brewers and the Cubs starting a 3-game series here tonight. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from historic Wrigley Field alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson, Sophia Minard, our reporter, and she is going to be very busy today because we have big news today. The Brewers are in a transition period. Doug Melvin is moving out of the general manager's role, going into an advisory role. That news was delivered today, and while the winds of change are here, and I think there's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of anxiety about who's going to come in and be the next general manager, maybe we look at the legacy of Doug Melvin, and that's a pretty solid tenure as a GM here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he came in at the end of the season in 2002, slashed payroll. Mark Ananazio came on board and started to put some funds into the organization. But, you know, Doug Melvin remembers for 2008 and 2011 getting into the postseason, some shrewd draft choices, Prince Fielder, J.J. Hardy, Ryan Braun, and the list goes on and on. But I think what most people remember about Doug Melvin, not just for the Brewers, but all of baseball, he did an awful lot with a little until Mark Ananazio started to infuse some money into the process. So Doug Melvin's going to be missed, but he's still going to be around in some capacity. But in remembering Doug Melvin, a great guy to work with, always very honest, and he would always give you a good soundbite.
He certainly would, and we'll be talking a lot about the transition. Sophia has plenty more throughout our broadcast here tonight. We're ready for first pitch. It's the Brewers and the Cubs, and it's coming up next from Wrigley Field. Fox Sports Wisconsin brought to you by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Scoreboard is up. It is operational. The bleachers are open, and they are packed here tonight. They've got a playoff buzz back in Wrigley Field. We're ready for baseball tonight. Dan Herron on the mound for the Cubs. His home debut, and his first pitch is in there for a strike, and away we go. Shane Peterson leading off for the Brewers here tonight. First spot for him in that leadoff spot. He sends one high in the air to center field. And Fowler backing up on it will make the play. Slight breeze blowing in tonight at Wrigley Field. You've met Peterson. Let's give you the rest of the Brewers lineup. Craig Counsell turning this one in courtesy of Potawatomi with Peterson, Davis, and Lind at the top. Lucroy, Jeanette, and Elian Herrera hitting in the middle of the order with Segura, Schaefer, and Taylor Youngman rounding it out. Davis, after that big game on Sunday, he was the star Sunday with 2 home runs, including what proved to be a game winner in the 8th inning as the Brewers beat the Cardinals. And Davis elevating into that 2 spot. And Rock, how about Dan Herron? This is his Cubs debut, and I'm betting there's a little bit of nerves flowing through him right now.
Yeah, made 21 starts with the Miami Marlins. He was a trading deadline acquisition for the Cubs. Cubs got him for 2 minor leaguers. He's made 5 starts against the Brewers. He's 2-1 with a 185 earned run average.
Well, Davis comes in at 242, 11 home runs now. Has 35 driven in. This will be a good matchup tonight. The Cubs are coming off a sweep of the San Francisco Giants, and the Cubs have now won 10 of their last 11 games. They are the hottest team in baseball right now. That's a little cue shot that goes back fair, hits the bag, and Rizzo makes a play for the second out.
You hardly ever see that. How about that play for Anthony Rizzo? Right off the end of the bat. I mean, Dan Herron, not a hard thrower, a lot of off-speed stuff. You know, cutters, sliders, and that baseball started in foul territory and hit the bag. Rizzo able to make the play.
Now, this very talented young Cubs lineup. They start 4 rookies. They've made a lot of changes in their lineup in order to accommodate some of their rookie players, and they are going to try to go to the post with them. Here's Adam Lind with 2 away. I mentioned the Cubs winning 10 of their last 11. The only loss in that stretch was the game that Dan Herron pitched. That was his Cubs debut. This is his 2nd game, his first game at Wrigley Field as a Cub, and his first game at Wrigley Field since August of 2013.
Man, no decision against the Pirates his first time out for Chicago. That was back on August 5th.
And a very charismatic skipper of the Cubs, Joe Madden. As Lynn fouls one away. Let's check the Chicago Cubs defense and rock some changes in there.
Yeah, Starlin Castro now out of the lineup. It's not just today, but it's a lineup change. He made 18 errors at short. Addison Russell goes from second base to short. Very good shortstop is Addison Russell. That puts Chris Coghlan a bit out of position at second base. And Joe Madden's going for the offense.
That opens the door for Kyle Schwarber to enter the lineup in left field as the Cubs get their starting catcher back, Miguel Montero. So Schwarber is a catcher by trade and was doing some catching when Montero was on the disabled list with a thumb injury, but Montero is back. There's a called strike 3, and Dan Herron in his Wrigley Field debut as a Cub, a 1-2-3 inning. At the bottom of the first inning, the Cubs are coming up, and Joe Maddon in his first year as the skipper of the Cubs, and he has his team in contention right now to the second wild card team. Dexter Fowler is his leadoff man. He's got Schwarber, the rookie, batting second, then Coghlan in the 3-hole. Middle of the order is Anthony Rizzo, rookie Chris Bryant, who was an all-star this year, and rookie Jorge Soler. And then the bottom three, Montero, the pitcher, Dan Herron batting 8th, and rookie Addison Russell batting 9th and playing shortstop now. Taylor Youngman making his Wrigley Field debut, and what a bright spot he's been for the Brewers this season.
Yeah, facing the Cubs for the second time. He's now faced two different teams more than once. The Pittsburgh Pirates, now the Cubs. So we'll see who makes the adjustment first. He was a winner last time out against the Padres, snapping a personal 2-game losing streak.
Youngman, the former first-round draft pick in 2011. Surfacing in the big leagues this year, and he has taken the big leagues by storm thus far. Let's hope he can keep it going. Dexter Fowler is the Cubs leadoff hitter, and Youngman delivers his first offering outside for a ball. By the way, that's Eric Cooper back there calling the balls and strikes. The crew chief is over at second base. Mark Carlson, Trip Gibson, and Gabe Morales, the other base umpires. Umpires hate when you describe him this way, but Cooper is known as a pitcher's umpire. As a matter of fact, he's been behind the plate for not one but 2 perfect games.
Which means it's a big strike zone, so hitters beware, right?
We shall see. That one's in there for a strike. 2-1 to Fowler. Fowler with good numbers, got an on-base percentage at .332. And he's only hitting .238, so I figure if the batting average can rise a touch, that on-base percentage will go with it. He's got an on-base percentage nearly 100 points higher than his batting average, and he's been a good leadoff man for him.
Yeah, which is important because he can run, he can steal some bases.
Hard to think of Dexter Fowler as a veteran, but he is certainly that in the middle of this very young Chicago Cubs ball club. 2-2. And a little half swing. Did he go? No, he didn't. They won't even ask. Able to check it. Full count to Fowler. I was here on Sunday with the Cubs and the Giants. Dexter Fowler against Jake Peavy, leading off the game offensively, had a 12-pitch at bat to start the game, and he fouled 7 pitches off. This one's between the lines, fly ball to left, and Davis will settle under it for the first out. That's how Youngman's night begins.
Yeah, let's check out the Brewers Menards defense. No Ryan Braun tonight. He's out tonight. He is available to come off the bench. A bit of back stiffness, so that puts Peterson in right, and Logan Schaefer with his first start since coming back from the minor leagues out in center field.
So another position on the books for Shane Peterson. He's played left, center, and right, and first base, and that's about as much as you can do as a left-hander. Council's been very impressed with Shane Peterson, and he keeps rolling him out there. Couple of rookies matching up. Youngman against Kyle Schwarber, who has lit Wrigleyville on fire since his arrival. Kyle Schwarber, one of the main reasons why the Cubs are playing as well as they are. His month of August, he's driven in 9 runs. He's hit 3 home runs, had 6 RBIs in a 4-game sweep of the San Francisco Giants. And the way he swung the bat rock, he has forced Joe Maddon to keep him in the lineup, to put him out there in left field where he is not exactly most comfortable.
But the Cubs need offense, and Schwarber's certainly a guy that has been swinging the bat well at .341 at batting average. He's got some pop in that bat. It's all about getting offense for the Cubs that are down near the bottom of the National League in offense, hitting at a .240 clip. Haven't been able to score a lot of runs, but Joe Maddon figuring I'm going to sacrifice some defense to get some offense going.
2 balls and a strike on Schwarber, and he hammers one to center field. That is way back there, but Logan Schaefer will make the catch with the wind blowing in. This has the feel of a fall evening in Chicago, even though we're in the middle of August. Typically that ball is way out of here.
Yeah, he smoked that baseball into center field. So it's the first thing you look at when you come to Wrigley Field is the wind blowing in or out. Wind blowing in, good thing for Taylor Youngman. And Logan Schaefer able to catch it right in front of the ivy in center field.
I remember Dale Swain, when he was managing here, always used to talk about Wrigley Field and saying, yes, when the wind blows out, it's a hitter's park, but the wind blows in just as much, and it can take a lot of home runs away, and that certainly was a home run in most ballparks.
That's a home run at Miller Park. That's off the batter's eye out there in center field. Wrigley Field giveth and it taketh away.
Youngman facing Chris Coghlan. Cubs certainly have a couple of Rookie of the Year candidates. Certainly Chris Bryant is on that list. Chris Coghlan won the Rookie of the Year for the then Florida Marlins. Now in his second year as a Cub, and he's moved all around for Joe Maddon, and yet he is hitting third, and you don't see three-hole hitters move around defensively like Chris Coghlan has been.
And particularly one with a .248 batting average, and he does have 11 home runs, but the RBI is really down.
And the 2-1 lace foul and out of play. 2-2. Cubs are taking a very patient approach here early against Taylor Youngman. The first three hitters have all seen at least 3 pitches. They've been ahead in the count, all 3.
Youngman faced the Cubs at Miller Park on the last homestand. He took a loss, pitched well, but took a loss. 5 2/3. 6 hits, 2 runs, but Brewers not able to muster much offense.
Youngman won his first game in the big leagues. That was against the Pirates back on June 9th. His wins have come against the Pirates, the Rockies. He's actually beaten the Pirates twice. He beat the Reds and won on the road in Los Angeles. Had a complete game against the Dodgers in a victory, and then a victory over San Diego his last time out. And there is a swinging strike according to the third base umpire, Gabe Morales. Unable to check it. Coghlan 3 up 3 down for Youngman. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers. It's Miller time. And it's a great night here in Chicago, Illinois. Beautiful weather and a big crowd still filing in here. Dan Herron back to work. We start the second inning at Wrigley. Each club retired in order in the first. Herron against the rookie Taylor Youngman. Lucroy hitting cleanup here today. No Ryan Braun today with all the news of Doug Melvin, the transition into an advisory role. Typically Ryan Braun not in the lineup is story A. But Craig Counsell saying that Ryan Braun's out with a little tightness in the back. That is a stab at third by Bryant, taking an extra base hit away from Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah, the advantage of having a tall third baseman right there, that would have been extra bases. Well, Bryant with a big home run power and taking away a double at least for Lucroy. Able to grab it in fair territory. Nice play.
Bryant an all-star this year. You got to figure he and Matt Duffy, maybe Jock Peterson, are the three major candidates for Rookie of the Year. Peterson and Bryant were all-stars this season.
I figure the defense for the Cubs is going to get a little bit better now that Starlin Castro is not going to be in the everyday lineup. And the Cubs down near the bottom in defense, 72 errors, but 18 committed by Starlin Castro at shortstop. So they shore themselves up a little bit with Addison Russell.
Scooter Gennett on the ground to second base. Coughlin for out number 2. Yeah, they're going to let it ride with these young players, and Chris Bryant certainly has a chance to win that Rookie of the Year award. To put Michael Franco in there as well, the terrific Phillies third baseman. But Joe Maddon has said he's going to be very diligent with rest. He's going to try to get these young players rest because the emotional drain in a pennant race in a full major league season. And so you figure Castro is still going to get his playing time.
Right. Well, he's probably going to get in there. I mean, he's still a good hitter. It's just a little bit of a focus issue for Castro, and a lot of errors, routine plays. He still makes some great plays. We saw it at Miller Park.
Switch hitter Elian Herrera. There's Starlin Castro. Joe Maddon was pretty clear too. He said this is not an off day. On Saturday, did start the game last Friday against the Giants, or last Thursday against the Giants, and then Friday Maddon said no mistake here. This is not an off day. We are changing the lineup. We're changing positions at shortstop.
He's not afraid to shake it up, is he?
Good for him. He's in a pennant race. The Cubs have a chance this year, and maybe a year earlier than they thought, but they're right there.
All about winning. He told his ball club, and check your ego at the door.
Herrera takes one low.
There's a buzz around this ballpark again here at Wrigley. Playoff fever, if you will. They got some work to do.
And the Brewers would love nothing more than to come in here and spoil the party a little bit. Ground ball right to Rizzo, and Herrera is out, and Dan Herron is cruising along through the first 2. He's retired 6 straight to get his night started. Brewers Cup Series is brought to you by Digger's Hotline. We invite you to call 811 before you dig. Anthony Rizzo will lead off for the Cubs. Youngman back to work. Taylor Youngman with a 3-up, 3-down inning with a strikeout. Struck out Chris Coghlan to end the first. Now Rizzo, Bryant, and Soler in what has turned out to be a very deep batting order. It's amazing what Schwarber's success has done to this order. And the return of Miguel Montero as well. There aren't a whole lot of breathers in that Chicago Cubs starting nine. Now they do strike out a lot, but there's a lot of power up and down this batting order.
And their number 9 hitter Addison Russell starting to swing the bat a little bit better now that he's moved to shortstop. They call it length in baseball. The lineup has length. And Joe Maddon's been very consistent in that pitcher in the number 8 spot.
Pitcher bats 8th. The shortstop Russell, the rookie, bats 9th, which allows a few more base runners for the top of the order. As Youngman misses. 2 balls and a strike. All 4 Cubs have been ahead in the count to start this game. It's a dangerous place to be for Youngman. Youngman's command has been the story. He's had great command. And with that crossfire action, it's a lot that could go wrong mechanically, but Youngman has been able to harness all of that, and he's got a great feel for the game coming up to the big leagues. He certainly does not look like he is overwhelmed by the big league experience.
He's got a good 2-seamer working, good sinker. He just threw a cutter under the hands of Anthony Rizzo, who stands right on top of the plate, daring you to come in there.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and that one is in there, and Rizzo takes it. That's the thing about Rizzo, though. He knows his strike zone on the inside part of the plate. He rarely jams himself, but that's where you got to pitch him if you're going to have success.
He's been hit by 22 pitches this year.
By far the most in the major leagues. Back in there. Youngman rings the bell. Down goes Rizzo.
Man, wasn't looking for that. Maybe looking for that curveball right down the middle. I think this is where Youngman wanted it. He wanted it on the inside corner and splits home plate right in half.
Right at the bottom of the strike zone. Back-to-back strikeouts for Youngman. His first K of the second inning. Well, there's a lot to talk about today with the news earlier from owner Mark Attanasio about the general manager change as Doug Melvin being transitioned out. We got that news this morning, and the owners meetings of Major League Baseball are here in Chicago. And so Mark Attanasio is here and made that announcement. Line drive into left center field. Davis closing, lays out, and it's in his glove. He doesn't know it. That bounced and ended up in his glove. He had no idea. And that'll be a double for Chris Bryant.
What a good play by, good effort by Chris Davis. You don't see that very often. Guy not knowing where the baseball is was in the glove, and boy, just does barely bounce in front of the glove. Would have been interesting had that ball gone in the glove before it bounces, whether that would have been considered an out or not. He has it in the glove, not sure where it is, and then falls out.
The second base umpire, Mark Carlson, called the safe sign right away to indicate to everyone that that was not a catch, that was a trap. And Bryant, seeing that, was running all the way. And so it'll be a double for Chris Bryant, first hit of the ball game.
That's a new one on me.
Never seen that one. While it's in the glove, I guess there's a sweet spot in the glove like there's a sweet spot on the bat. He hardly felt it.
Probably in the webbing somewhere, didn't feel it, but I don't think they would have called that an out had that ball stayed in the glove and didn't bounce.
Right.
Because, you know, Davis never was able to take it out, so I guess the rule in the rule book would pretty much stipulated that would have been a double.
Jorge Soler with Bryant at second base. Takes the ball down and away. Youngman has been behind on every Cub batter. 6 batters. He's fallen behind with ball 1 on all 6. He's got a runner at second with 1 away. Solaire's been swinging the bat well lately, as most of the Cubs have.
Well, you got to be careful in that first pitch with a lot of these guys. You mentioned that they're free swingers. They strike out a lot, and typically hitters that strike out a lot are going to attack early. So you got to be careful that first pitch. Just don't want to throw him down the middle to get an early strike.
And it's 3 balls and no strikes on Soler. First time in the stretch today for Youngman. We are hoping at some point today to either chat with Doug Melvin or Mark Atanasio. I do not believe those two have arrived to the ballpark just yet, attending the owners meetings just up the road. And if they do arrive in time, we've set it up down there with Sophia where we can talk to either one of those two and get their comments. We've seen a lot of their comments. Sophia was at the informal press conference today, threw that together fairly quickly along with the beat writers. Soler rips one back up the middle and a base hit. And Bryant around third. He's on his way to score. And the Cubs have the lead, 1-0.
Boy, that ball was smoked. He threw one fastball down the middle. And Soler able to hit it hard into center field. It was Soler up at the plate. You got to play deep in center, which is where Schaefer was. Almost hit Taylor Youngman in the back. And no chance to get Bryant at home plate.
That'll be an RBI single for Jorge Soler, his 35th run batted in. They're a very talented right fielder from Cuba. And here is Montero. Veteran catcher in his first year with the Cubs. He was traded from the Diamondbacks to the Cubs. Just got back in the lineup over the weekend after he was out with a thumb injury, a ligament injury. He's always been a good hitter. Was an all-star last season as a member of the Diamondbacks.
And the Cubs hung in there pretty well with him on the disabled list. Took a village to replace him. The Cubs had 3 catchers while he was out most of the time, and good offensive player with some power.
And while he was out, they discovered that Kyle Schwarber could play every day and handle his own in the big leagues. They had originally brought Schwarber up to be the designated hitter in an interleague series in June. Then they sent him back down. And then once Montero was injured and on the DL, Schwarber came back up, and then he started to hit. He played a lot, he hit, and he's here to stay now. Montero into left center, a base hit. Schaefer's got it, bobbles, and Soler takes off to third base. That should be an error on Schaefer that allows Soler to third. That's big with 1 out. The normally sure-handed Logan Schaefer having trouble with that one.
And Soler was willing to stay at second base until Schaefer had the bobble out here, and this is when he took off to third base. The one thing that Schaefer did well was throw it into second to keep Montero at first, to keep the double play alive. And you see the bobble, and Soler takes third base easily.
And that brings an early visit from pitching coach Rick Kranitz. So Youngman in trouble here in the second inning. 3 consecutive hits, Bryant, Soler, and Montero.
The second time that the Cubs have seen Taylor Youngman. Youngman got beat by the Cubs, but he pitched well. 5 2/3, only 2 runs. So the element of surprise is gone for Youngman. He's going to have to make some pretty good pitches.
Well, now you figure Herron's up there to bunt. Herron's always been a good hitting pitcher. And likely up there to bunt with 1 out and runners at the corners. He squares and he takes a ball. By the way, that error by Schaefer, that's the first error in 6 games for the Brewers, who have played pretty tight defense. This one, however, allows a runner to go to third base with one out. Aaron not bunting this time, and he takes ball 2. The mad scientist. What does he have up his sleeve here? He's had a lot of success. He took the Tampa Bay Rays to the World Series, completely rebuilt that organization. Aaron gets a bunt down. Youngman coming to the plate, and a tag at the plate is it. Oh no, it dropped the ball. Lucroy dropped the baseball, and Soler scores.
Yeah, he was out until he dropped the baseball. Well, I think that might be an error on Lucroy. He was out easily at home plate until he drops the ball.
Oh, man.
Ouch.
That one hurts. That was a gift.
Good play by Youngman to get there, and tag is there, but drops the ball. Ouch.
2 runs are in. The fielder's choice, no RBI, error on Lucroy. And the Brewers are not off to a very pleasant start here at Wrigley Field. Second error of the inning. First and second now, still one out. And here is Addison Russell.
That's the old swipe tag that catchers have to do these days. You can't block home plate and just drop the knee and two-hand it. Yeah, you catch it out in front of home plate, you swipe the tag, and sometimes that's what happens.
Well, every batter first time through, Youngman has thrown ball 1 to start the count. That's a big curveball for a strike.
Yeah,
curveball was his pitch against the San Diego Padres.
Yes, it was. It was a good pitch. He had a season high in strikeouts against San Diego. Had 8 of them. A lot of them coming on that curveball.
He's in need of a ground ball. The Brewers would love to try to turn 2 here, and a big swing by Russell. Position player hitting 9th in a National League lineup. The Brewers have done that on a few occasions. That was primarily for Gomez as a leadoff hitter to give him some RBI chances. Joe Madden has different reasons for it, though.
He feels as though it protects the young player. Addison Russell puts him in a very low pressure spot in the batting order. Whether that's the case or not, who knows?
Lines one foul.
The other thing is he gets on, then the top of the order comes up, and he feels as though he can score some runs. And batting 8th in the National League lineup in front of the pitcher is not an easy spot. I mean, a lot of different pressures on you that you don't experience in any other spot in the batting order.
Russell does see a lot of pitches per plate appearance. He is the Cubs leader in that category. He's actually 5th in the National League. And he rips a curveball into left field, a base hit. Montero, slow running catcher, will hold at third. And the hits keep coming here for the Cubs. That's their 4th of the inning. And they are all hit pretty hard at this point. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Youngman stepping into the danger zone here early against the Cubs.
Yeah, hung a curveball, and he didn't do hardly any of that in his last start. Curveball up in the eyes of Russell, and he hits it hard into left field. Second time you face a team that presents different challenges. These guys, Cub hitters, aren't surprised at his stuff. They know what he's going to throw. They know how it comes out of his hand.
Cubs go 4 for 9 first time through the batting order. And Fowler already up there here in the second. This is the 7th batter of the inning. Costly error by Lucroy behind the plate. 0 for 10 getting ahead of hitters. And it's 2-0 on Fowler. Fowler had a long consecutive on base streak that was snapped on Sunday against the Giants. He was 0 for 4, did not reach base, and that snapped an on base streak at 22 consecutive games. In the air, left field, deep. Davis is back. This will plate another run. And the Cubs have 3 on the board. Sac fly, RBI for Dexter Fowler.
Another pitch up in the zone, and another count where Taylor Youngman has to come in with a pretty good pitch to hit. That one out a half, about mid-thigh, and got away with it, got it out, but a run does come in. Has not been able to get a first pitch strike on any hitter so far tonight.
And with runners in first and second, 2 outs, he'll face Kyle Schwarber. Such a different experience here at Wrigley Field now, right? They have walk-up music. There's the giant scoreboard in left center field. They put the one up in right field last year, and there's a different look to it. It feels a little more modern, but still has the old Wrigley Field feel to it. There's a ton of construction outside of the interior.
Along the third baseline, all dug up outside, and
I think it is only adding to the energy here. The new sound system, speakers, the music. Not that I'm against the old-fashioned organ music, which is always great. They still have it here. But once a game gets going, it's loud, and it's got a little bit of a festive atmosphere here at Wrigley Field. And they're winning.
Yeah, that's all well and good, but I mean, they have a pretty good team here. Not expected to be, in the hunt this year. They knew they had something going well here, and come a little bit earlier. Joe Madden got the manager's job in the offseason, and he has delivered.
Schwarber in a 1-2 count, and takes a breaking ball. Youngman searching for that curveball right now. Cubs are only averaging 3.38 runs per game here at Wrigley. They're better on the road. They're actually a run plus on the road, 4.47, but they have 3 on the board here already, all coming in this inning. Schwarber into right, and Peterson is there, and that will end the inning. Not a good inning for the Crew. 2 errors, one of them led to a run. 3 runs in for the Cubs.
Call 811 before you dig. Diggers Hotline. Here at Wrigley Field, the Cubs are off to a 3-0 lead here at the third inning. But the news of the day for the Brewers, they are announcing that general manager Doug Melvin, nearing the end of 13 seasons as general manager here for the Brewers, and he will transition into an advisory role at the end of this season. A meeting today with Doug Melvin and Mark Adonasio, that announcement coming down. Melvin citing just personal reasons, 63 years old, the increasing demands of being a general manager in the big leagues, saying it was just a gut feeling that now is the right time to transition into this role. And so for Mark Adonasio, the process is already underway in looking for a new general manager. He has hired Korn Ferry, an executive search firm, to oversee the process. He's in town here in Chicago for ownership meetings. He has begun the process of seeking permission from other owners, and they're seeking a young general manager to go along with Craig Counsell as they guide the Brewers into the future.
All right, Sophia, thanks. As you see Gene Segura lead off. Had a follow-up, Sophia. You were there today, and it was a meeting, an informal press conference. A lot of the beat writers came down as well. But what would you say the tone was? What did it feel like in there? It seemed like a pretty casual conversation with everybody.
It was very casual, and Doug Melvin just stressed, and both Mark Adonasio as well, just stressed this is a transition, and they really feel that this is a mutually beneficial decision. They reached this agreement in May. Doug for his personal reasons, and Mark, wants to move into a younger generation of a general manager. They want a general manager with an analytic perspective, and so Doug Melvin, he said, will be a very valuable resource for him moving forward.
And this is something that Doug's been thinking about for a couple of years, and finally pulling the trigger. He will have a very good legacy here as the Brewers general manager. Came in at the end of the 2002 season. Had some really good drafts. Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, J.J. Hardy, Corey Hart, to name a few, and turned the Brewers into a playoff contender.
Think about Doug Melvin. The one thing that pops in my mind first is CC Sabathia. That was the trade that changed everything in Milwaukee. The Brewers had not gone to the playoffs in 26 consecutive seasons, and they gave up a lot. They gave up 4 players. One of those players has become an all-star outfielder with the Indians, Michael Brantley. But CC Sabathia helped change the culture of baseball in Milwaukee. He brought the national spotlight, brought the limelight, and what a force he was in 2008. And Doug Melvin, that was going to be one of his signature moves. I think, other than the Alex Rodriguez signing when he was the general manager of the Texas Rangers, that I think a lot of people give him a lot of grief over, the CC Sabathia is the move that trumps that one in my mind.
Yeah, that whole process, when CC Sabathia came over to the end of the season through the playoffs, was certainly the highlight of my professional career here in the booth.
Aaron strikes out Logan Schaefer for the second out.
You can add the Zach Greinke deal too. I mean, that came at a high cost, but the Brewers won the division and got to the NLCS.
He proved to be a general manager that would take some chances, and he and Mark Adonasio worked very well together. And Mark certainly brought a bigger payroll. The Brewers have a payroll in triple figures this year. That's why this season has been such a disappointment. But you make your best next move, and the next move is a regime change at the top with Doug in an advisory role, and that's going to be an interesting process to start out. I noticed during Sophia's hit there that Mark has made his way to the seats down there, so we're hoping to hear from Mark, and we'll try to arrange that between innings, and we hope to be able to interview him in the bottom of this inning. And we'll be able to ask him all of those questions and what the plan moving forward is. Meanwhile, Herron has retired 8 straight. He's got the pitcher Youngman at the plate. And the 1-2 pitch is outside, 2-2 now. Ground ball up the middle. That's going to sneak through. Taylor Youngman with another hit. He came in with a .316 batting average, and he's going to add to it. Well, he has been something with the bat in his hands. That is a 2-strike single with 2 outs to turn the lineup over.
Yeah, checked his swing on a pitch out of the strike zone, then got one and able to bang it into center field. So Taylor Youngman continues His impressive at-bats. He's dropped down 5 sacrifice bunts. And now 7 for 20.
Give Shane Peterson a swing. First hit of the day for the Brewers by the pitcher Youngman. Peterson back up there for the second time. Shane flew out to center field in the first. Man, hits that one hard to right field. That's down, a base hit. Back-to-back singles for the Brew Crew. Trying to make a little noise with 2 outs here in the third inning.
Let's see what adjustments the Brewers offense does against Dan Herron with all of his off-speed pitches, the sliders. He'll throw a splitter once in a while, and fastball tops out at about 88 miles an hour, so you got to wait back on him.
Now Wrigley Field is playing big tonight, even though we're in the middle of August. The wind is blowing in, and we've seen a couple of long fly ball outs already. But Davis has the kind of power where it doesn't matter. If he hits one, it's going to go regardless of the wind. Batting second tonight for Counsell.
Yeah, you got to figure that big scoreboard out in left center as we take a look on Sunday. 2 home runs for KD, 1 coming to left center. That one into the Brewers bullpen, and this is the big one off of Jonathan Broxton in the 8th. Brewers down by a run. Here's Davis with 2 home run games in 4 days.
Powerball home runs 10 and 11 as it grounds to third. That will retire the side. The Brewers strand 2. We'll try to catch up with the owner, Mark Atanasio, when we come back. Is brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Live at Wrigley Field on a Tuesday night, first of the series. First of 3. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Sophia Minard. And we're pleased to be joined now by Mark Atanasio down by the Brewers dugout. And we didn't want you to get out of your seat, Mark, so you stay right there and just make sure no foul balls come over there and do any damage. So welcome to our broadcast.
Sophia's got a good spot where she can duck behind the dugout. And me and Bob Quinn
are exposed.
By the way, Bob Quinn, if you check it out, has got a really colorful shirt on tonight. He's really stepping out here.
Now, he is a colorful guy, the musician that he is.
There he is.
And he's all smiles, and there's Sophia. Well, Mark, thanks for joining us. This has been a very interesting day, and one that you've not dealt with as an owner of a ball club, where you're in a transition period for a general manager. Now, we've heard the rumors, we've heard discussions that something like this might happen. Why was today the day that it did happen?
Well, I don't know that there was any magic to today, other than we're all in Chicago The team's in town, and we got major league owners meetings here. So it was as good a time as any, I think, both getting through the trade deadline and we're about to start to ask for permission to speak to folks from other clubs, and we didn't want any. There'd invariably be leaks on that. We didn't want to have any leaks.
Mark, was this kind of a surprise to you coming from Doug, or is this something you two had been talking about for a while?
No, we've talked about this for some time, Rock, and in fact, we had a handshake agreement on this in spring training, and took a couple of months to get documented, and we've been operating, with this in mind. What we didn't want to do is disrupt the operations of the club, and particularly as it turned out to be a very fertile trade deadline for us, we didn't want any distractions while we were going through that.
Yeah, we were talking. We've been talking up here about the Doug Melvin legacy here with the Brewers. Your thoughts on his time here in Milwaukee?
Well, Doug's had a really successful tenure. I think the year before he took over the club, they only won 56 games, and I remember just to get to the playoffs. I noticed, by the way, guys, not being the best of seasons here, at least now we're running clips from 2011 and not 1982.
Right.
So we've had a couple playoff appearances in the last 5 years. And, importantly, the team is in. I got a note from one of our fans that said, "How come you're always so cheery?" But notwithstanding, I feel everybody's pain. We have a lot of really good things going on now. And, chief of them might be Doug's handiwork this season, and both in terms of, identifying Craig Counsell as our manager and executing some of the trades that he did at the trade deadline. I think we'll see his handiwork in Miller Park for years to come.
Chris Coghlan leads the inning off with a walk. Taylor Youngman with a man on base. And Mark, I'm curious to know, as much as you are willing to share, but what are your emotions on a day like this? I mean, Doug Melvin's the only general manager that you've operated with. He'll still be in an advisory role, I guess. I mean, that's what you guys have announced. But what are your emotions on this day?
Well, there's a lot of memories, and that said, Doug will have a role with the club, and that role will depend somewhat on who we recruit to take over as GM. We're literally at the front end of the process. This is today's announcement kicks it off. We will have a process. We've developed a list. We probably have 30 some odd names on the list from a number of sources, and obviously we're not going to interview 30 people, so we're really just starting, and depending on who comes in, what their skill set is, and what help they need will help shape what Doug's role is.
We asked Craig Counsell this question, we'll ask you as well, but is he a candidate to be the general manager? He said no, but is that something you'd like to see him enter into?
I think it's interesting. I got a few emails from fans today, and a number of them raised that, and I think Craig is extremely well suited for this role. Had he stayed in the front office, he would have been a candidate, but he's able to take the training he had working with Doug and apply it in the dugout. You see recently, by the way, in the Marlins, they put their GM in the dugout for a year. I think managers need to know how baseball front offices think, and I think it's helpful for.
Got him. Caught stealing. Lucroy guns down Coghlan for the first out of the inning. Continue,
and
Mark.
I think it's likewise helpful to have a manager's perspective. Ideally, I'd like to see a partnership between Craig and whoever comes in as our general manager. And looks like the Cubs might challenge this one.
And they're going to take a look at it. Look like Joe Madden wants them to take a look at it, and we'll see what the results will be. Now, Mark,
you guys have ginned this up so it can have more airtime, right?
Right. We asked them to go to a review here.
Do you have a timeline that you would prefer or be comfortable with respect to this process?
You know, one of the things that we said was in the interview with our local reporters today is that the transition and the way we have set it up gives us a lot of flexibility on time. So, for whatever reason things progress quickly, we're ready to go. We made this decision. Doug's made the decision that he's ready to step out of a primary role. One of the things Doug didn't say is he's extremely hardworking to this day. You know, when we were doing the Carlos Gomez trade, I literally he talked on the air with you guys about. He talked with you about calling me at Hawaii at 5 in the morning. Well, I can tell you about being in Hawaii and getting emails from him at 1:20 at night in Milwaukee. So, that means no Memorial Days, no Labor Days, no 4th of July picnics. He's going to smell the roses a little bit, and I think he's really earned that. But that said, he still has a lot of energy if we have the right match here. And we can move quickly, or if we don't have the right match, we can move slowly. By the way, it may very likely be that teams don't allow us to talk to candidates till after the season, which case it'll go a little more slowly. Ideally, I'd like to have somebody in place, in time to prepare for the winter meetings, but our staff will be, in full preparation mode. It's business as usual in, Milwaukee Brewers baseball operations, and so there won't be a hitch. It'll be seamless.
Visiting with Mark Attanasio as we see the challenge and the call is overturned. Call of out is overturned to safe. That's a stolen base for Coghlan. 3-0 Cubs. We're in the bottom of the third inning with Rizzo at the plate and Youngman on the mound. And if you're just joining us and wondering why we're spending this long with Mark Attanasio, the news today that Doug Melvin transitioning into an advisory role. The Brewers are going to be in the search for a new general manager. And I noticed, Mark, that there's a firm that you have called upon to help you in that search. Can you explain why that is, what the purpose of that is, and what you hope to extract out of a firm coming together with, I guess, a short list for you, correct?
Korn Ferry is a established executive recruiter. They frankly have a huge business outside of sports. And I see them in the corporate world quite a bit. But from time to time, they help sports organizations. They were involved with Major League Baseball in the search for the commissioner, the new commissioner. And I was impressed with the way they organized that process.
That one's into the gap. Rizzo is going to play to run. And that'll be an RBI double for Anthony Rizzo. Boy, this guy is having a huge year, an all-star for the second consecutive season. That is RBI number 64, and the Cubs lead it 4-0. 29th double of the season for Anthony Rizzo. And that'll bring up Chris Bryant. One last question for you, Mark. We'll let you go here. But
no, that's okay.
There's been a lot of discussion about the kind of general manager you're looking for. It seems to come up maybe a younger general manager, an analytics-driven general manager. Is that true? And what kind of light can you shed on those types of discussions?
Well, one of the this goes back to Korn Ferry, because they can help us in a very disciplined way, put candidates into a process and put them into groupings of candidates. In the first instance, this is a terrific opportunity to listen. We're going to get a lot of third-party views from very intelligent people about our organization, and want to hear what they have to say. And I really want to go in with an open mind on that and look for who I think the best fit for our organization is. Because Doug's background is more scouting-driven, people think of us as a scouting-driven team, and while that's true, we also do have a established analytics group, and frankly, this last trade deadline was a marriage of decisions between scouting and analytics. More to the point, from a generational standpoint, I'd like to see. We're looking for someone to kind of pair up with Craig Counsell. So Craig is 44 years old, so a younger person who could forge some type of a partnership with him, I think, would be ideal. When you look at other teams, look at the Green Bay Packers with Coach McCarthy and their general manager operate. Coach McCarthy tells me he operates very closely in partnership. So, we'd like to have that, but we're gonna start without any predispositions and really try to find the best person and the best fit who can guide us over the next 5 to 10 years or longer. Doug was with us, I think, in this role for 13 years.
Well, Mark, we appreciate the time, and I know you haven't had a chance to speak on camera about it yet. Thanks for doing that with us here today. You've had a busy day, whirlwind day with the owners' meetings and this announcement, and we wish you the best. And we're very anxious and curious to follow this entire process as you search for your next general manager. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, guys, and I do think we're with Craig in the seat and some of the trades we did at the trade deadline, we're starting to move forward in a very positive way.
All right, Mark, thanks for your time tonight. That's Mark Attanasio, the Brewers owner, and tough inning going on here while we're talking to Mark, as Youngman has now allowed the first 3 batters to reach 3 straight full counts this innings. He's got 20 pitches and no outs yet. This is shaping up to be a very short night here for Taylor Youngman. But the big picture of the Brewers, Rock, is regime changes are very difficult, and a lot of change has to happen. People need to get into place, and Mark was saying before we got on the air here that he's hoping this will not be a long rebuild and a long transition period to get back into contention. He's hoping it can come sooner than later, hoping before 3 years. Craig Counsell is signed for 3 years, and he did say that Craig Counsell is certainly going to be the manager, and the new general manager will have to understand those parameters.
Yeah, it's good to hear that it's going to be a relatively quick process. He's talking about hopefully having a new general manager by the winter meetings, and that happens in December. So sometime, I would imagine, November, there might be some news. That's according to what Mark would like to see. But it's going younger. I mean, baseball itself with players are going younger, and now front office and decision makers are starting to get a little bit younger. So the Brewers are just following suit.
Now, when Doug Melvin took over as the general manager of the Texas Rangers, he was 43 years old. So there was a day when he was the young general manager, right? He's 63 now after 20 years.
And he would laugh if he were here and you said that to him. Yeah.
Well, Youngman needs something good to happen quickly. The Cubs have a 4-0 lead already. Youngman's pitch count is soaring right now after a 30-pitch second inning. And there's a called strike 3. That's a good start. So the first out on his 3rd strikeout.
He needed that one badly. Well, there is activity down in that Brewers bullpen right now. So Taylor Youngman, one of his roughest starts as a Brewer, and that one a generous call. You mentioned that Eric Cooper is a pitcher's umpire, and Taylor Youngman taking advantage of that big strike zone.
First out of the inning. Here is Montero now. Cubs have a run in. Of the 4 that Youngman has allowed, just 2 of them are earned. Brewers committing 2 errors last inning. I think to the the average fan at home, understanding that a general manager, the importance of that job, but leading into the offseason for that job when you're trying to sign free agents and do deals. Montero out to center field. Schaefer has that one for out number 2. I mean, it is imperative to have the head of your baseball operations in place and moving forward before you get into the October, November months, when that's when all the activity in the roster building begins.
But he made a good point. I mean, some of these prospects, if you will, for the GM job are probably with organizations right now that are going to be in the postseason. You might not be able to talk to those people or those candidates until maybe the latter part of October, maybe even into November. Makes it a bit more of a challenge.
Here's the pitcher, Herron. Runners at first and third. Well, if Youngman can navigate out of this with only one run allowed, that'll be a victory for him. As I mentioned, though, Herron is a guy who handles the bat well. Hitting 152 this year. I remember his days with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Herron every now and then would be called on to pinch hit or pinch run. He's a good athlete.
And an opportunity to get back into the postseason, or at least pitch in the playoff run here for Chicago, coming over from the Marlins.
Does have 2 postseason appearances. He was on the playoff roster for the Cardinals in 2004, and then was back in the postseason with the Oakland Athletics in 2006, but none since for Dan Herron. Cardinals, A's, then he went to the Diamondbacks. He was an all-star with Arizona. Finished 5th in the Cy Young voting back in 2009, and then went from the Diamondbacks to the Angels. That was a trade in 2010. Had a year with the Nationals. Brewers last saw him with the Dodgers last year.
Right.
And then he signed with the Marlins this season. He has bounced around quite a bit. Trade deadline deal between the Marlins and the Cubs. The Cubs also got Tommy Hunter from Baltimore. Those were their 2 moves. Herron is a .206 career hitter. That one year when he went from the Diamondbacks to the Angels, his time in Arizona, he hit .364 that year, and a lot of at bats, had 20 hits. 2-2, runner goes. It's Skip, and the throw to second is late. Lucroy tried to pick it and make a play. Segura did well to keep that one in front. That'll be a stolen base for Bryant.
Yeah, 12 stolen bases. He's been called only 3 times. A combination of power and speed for Chris Bryant. We saw him make a nice play at third base on a line drive. No contest down there at second base. Segura keeps it close. Keeps it in front of him to keep the runner at third base.
So now second and third with the pitcher at the plate. 3-2 is the count.
You better make sure you're going to make it when you take off in that situation. You got the pitcher up with 2 outs. You get thrown out, then the pitcher leads off the next inning, but Bryant stole it easily. Never want to get thrown out in that situation.
Two on, 2 away. Another payoff coming from Youngman. He steps off.
It just doesn't have that good rhythm tonight. A lot of indecision, stepping off quite a bit. Not sure about the pitch he wants to throw, and haven't seen that from him too much.
34th pitch of the inning, and it is down and out. He walks the pitcher. Never good. Had loads of bases. Youngman with his 3rd walk of the inning. 31 pitch inning last inning, and I think Craig Counsell's seen enough here. Counsell's on his way out. He's got his bullpen ready, and that's going to do it for Taylor Youngman. So his worst start as a big leaguer. Youngman cannot get through 3 innings. Pitching change at Wrigley Field. Cubs with the bases loaded. 4 runs are in. We'll take a break. Scoreboard has the Cubs leading 4-0. And Taylor Youngman is out. 81 pitches, 38 balls. By far his worst start as a major leaguer. Hopefully he'll bounce back. He's been great for the Brewers, but not tonight. So Tyler Thornburg will get some early work here today. He comes in with 2 outs, bases loaded in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, 4th appearance for Tyler Thornburg since being recalled from the minor leagues on July 31st. Has not allowed a run in his first 3. Last pitched on Friday against the Cardinals.
Addison Russell with the bases full. Russell singled in the 2nd inning. Talented young Chicago shortstop. This is the shortstop that the Cubs got in the trade with the Oakland A's for Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija's back in Chicago pitching for the Southsiders, the White Sox. A's made all those moves last year. Picked up John Lester, picked up Jeff Samardzija, and they lost in the wild card game. And they gave up those prospects, and now here's Russell in a key role at a very valuable position, and he is their shortstop to stay for now as we hit the stretch run in the big leagues.
And another youngster playing every day for the Cubs. 4 rookies in the starting lineup.
Broken bat, roller over to 3rd base. Here is Herrera, and a good play to win the inning. So Thornburg minimizes the damage. A lot of traffic, but only 1 run in that 3rd, and it's 4-0 Cubs. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Cubs are up 4-0 as we go to the top of the 4th inning from Wrigley Field, Chicago. Back-to-back night games here and then a day game on Thursday. Hey, you can see legendary Lambeau Field like you've never seen it before. From Over the Edge on Saturday, August 15th. You can rappel down the side of Lambeau Field for the ultimate fan experience while raising money for Special Olympics Wisconsin. Sign up today. Limited spots available. For more information, go to foxsportswisconsin.com/events. Now the Brewers have their work cut out for them, but this could be a whole lot worse at this point, believe it or not. Cubs stranding a runner in the 2nd, scoring 3, and scoring 1, stranding the bases loaded last inning.
Yeah, 3 walks in the 3rd inning, and Tyler Thornburg able to get that big out to end it.
Cubs committed 2, or rather the Brewers committing 2 errors as Lynn sends one to center field. That's well hit. Fowler's on the run, and Adam Lynn will watch this off the ivy. Into second base he goes with a long double.
He's been doing a lot of that, tomahawking high fastballs. Just look, it was about neck high, and Lynn able to get on top of it, knock it off that fence out there in center. Usually lefties don't do that very well. That's about shoulder high, and Adam Lynn, look at the way he gets on top of it and able to hit it off that ivy out there above the 400-foot sign.
That just missed the basket for a home run, which juts out a little bit. There's been a couple of balls hit to center field that would be home runs on most August nights in the history of Wrigley Field. Not tonight, though. The wind's blowing in. Here's Lucroy.
But how about the pitch he hit? I mean, that wasn't even close to being a strike. It was up. He's able to tomahawk it out of here, and I should say tomahawk it off the wall. Very impressive by Adam Lynn.
This feels like he's made up his mind to swing. Herron's been around the strike zone, and Lynn's got the skill to go get it wherever it is.
Well, you could do that when you're throwing about 87, 88 miles an hour. You get it up there in the mid-90s. Look out. That's a swing and a miss.
Lucroy lined out his first time up. It's a good catch by Chris Bryant over at third base. Hit a shot to the backhand side of Bryant. Got to cash in when you can now. The Brewers trailing by 4. And they're already into their bullpen. It's the second shortest outing by a Brewers starter all year. Jimmy Nelson went 2 1/3 in Cincinnati earlier this year. That was back in April. Youngman was 2 2/3 here today.
Just couldn't get ahead in the count, could he? He's just behind everybody. Just couldn't find that rhythm that we've seen from Youngman in his first 11 starts.
4 runs for Youngman, 2 earned. To 81 pitches in 2 2/3 innings. And the next phase of his big league life for Taylor Youngman. How does he respond? How does he answer back from a bad start? That's his first one.
You know how he responds or acts when things are going well. Now is the true test. First time he's really struggled at the big league level.
And Lucroy again to third base. Good base running by Lynn to hold his ground. Bryant was right there, and Jonathan Lucroy is 0 for 2 when he could very easily be 2 for 2.
The ball was hit too hard. Lynn really didn't have time to move one way or another. Now try somebody else, Luke. There's no money there. That one right at Chris Bryant this time. Able to snare one as it went by him down the line. First time up for Lucroy.
And the first out of the inning. Here's Jeanette. Scooter grounded to second base in the second inning. Lind with a leadoff double. Scooter coming off a homestand where he had 8 hits in the 11-game homestand, including a home run and a couple of RBIs. And that one's right off the end of the bat. Bryant will scoop it up and make the play for out number 2.
Hey, the Brewers are giving away a one-of-a-kind T-shirt to all fans of Miller Park this Friday night as the Crew kicks off their weekend series against the Phillies, and all fans in attendance get a free Brewers T-shirt courtesy of Master Printwear. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to brewers.com.
Did you notice the state of Wisconsin in that ball and glove logo?
I did. Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. Creative minds. How long did it take for you to come up with that, Rock?
That design?
Mm-hmm. Something you labored over, or maybe just came to you in a moment?
I'm not the creative one in the family. Took me a while to figure out what it was, actually.
That was the biggest challenge. Not creating it, but figuring out what it was.
Yeah.
Herrera down the line. That's going to fall a base hit. Schwarber cuts it off. In to score is Adam Lind. And Elian Herrera hustles his way to second base with an RBI double. So the Brewers on the board. 4-1 Cubs. Milwaukee puts one across the pay station thanks to Elian Herrera.
Two lefties able to get the Brewers on the board. And Dan Herron, trying to sink a pitch away from Herrera, goes right with it down the line. Good piece of hitting by Elian Herrera to drive in a run.
And Herrera hustling his way to a double. And so he's in scoring position now with 2 outs. Segura back to the mound. Herron winds it up and gets him for the final out. Brewers get a run on a 2-out hit by Herrera. 4-1 Chicago. Putting the Brewers on the board. It's 4-1 Cubs. And our carsoup.com trivia: which Brewers radio broadcaster teamed with Bob Uecker the longest? All right. That's Jeff Levering and Joe Block.
They're playing along. You get it?
Heckle and Jekyll.
I think everybody's thinking it's going to be Pat Hughes, who incidentally is not here tonight.
Yeah, it would have been great if Pat Hughes was here. But he's not. He decided to take the night off. Tyler Thornburg back on the mound.
No Uke. No Pat Hughes.
Everybody's deciding to take the night off except us.
Why would you?
Beautiful night at Wrigley Field. Brewers are plotting their way to a comeback. Okay, this ballpark's got great energy once again.
Couple of great scoreboards that they didn't have before. Kind of cuts off some of the rooftop views.
Yeah, the folks in right field especially.
They must be real happy about the scoreboards.
Well, they could either have a few of the rooftop views as Fowler draws the walk. Could have a few rooftop views blocked, or they could move out to the north suburbs and not have anything to look at. So the lesser of two evils, I suppose.
Kind of hurts property values out there on Sheffield.
It's been a long battle with Cubs ownership and the Wrigley rooftop organization.
Used to be a great view over there.
I remember when Tom Browning, who was pitching for the Reds at the time, ended up in uniform on the rooftop in right field on Sheffield. Thornburg with a leadoff walk. Here's Schwarber now. Brewers are going to have to figure out a way to turn the hose off right now. Every inning after the first, there have been a ton of base runners. Cubs have already batted around for the 3rd time now. And we're only in the 4th inning. Brought 8 men to the plate in the 2nd, 7 batters in the 3rd, and a leadoff walk here in the 4th.
Well, they're starting to swing the bats much better. We were told that when we came into the ballpark today, that Cubs are starting to feel a little bit offensively. They've got an offensive-minded lineup out there on a daily basis. All their hitters are playing. The bat plays, you know. That's the age-old adage. If you can hit, they're going to find a spot for you. That's what they're doing with Schwarber, putting him in left.
Thornburg, one of two long relievers the Brewers have right now. Kyle Lohse the other. Probably try to get as many as you can out of Thornburg, 2 or 3. You're hoping 3, and then Lohse could give you a couple. And you try to get through this game without emptying out your bullpen. Brewers just had a day off yesterday, so everybody's fresh and available, but you don't want to set yourself up for the rest of this trip, which is just a 3-game trip, and then you go back home for a 6-game homestand. The Brewers are in a stretch of 9 straight games before the next off day. They just finished a long stretch of 20 in a row before the off day yesterday.
And they got a bunch of off days stacked up in the next couple of weeks. Off day before they go to Washington, off day between Washington and Cleveland. You don't need that many off days bunched up like that.
We're not giving them back, but you don't really need them.
You got 4 off days between August 20th and August 31st.
Schwarber, a swing and a miss. Big cut on a 3-1 pitch. A little changeup from Thornburg. That stretch the Brewers just finished of 20 in a row, that's the longest of the year. They don't have a stretch of games between off days more than 13 the rest of the season. Twice they do that. But you get into September, and in September call-ups, you're not so worried about arms at that point, especially when you're not in a pennant race. Fowler takes off. Schwarber takes a walk, and 2 on back-to-back walks. And the Brewers are digging deeper here.
5 walks in the last 2 innings.
Well, it's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. You can use hashtag WisDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Now, between Thornburg and Youngman, the Brewers' 2 pitchers tonight, they've been in 9 3-ball counts to 20 batters faced. 5 walks allowed. Cubs have 5 hits and have scored 4 runs. The Brewers have also committed 2 errors. Chris Coghlan with 2 on. Pretty sweet spot in the batting order, hitting in front of Anthony Rizzo, who is emerging as a top 10 player. That's a base hit. Slow start by Fowler, but he's going to be held up. Good throw in from right field and Peterson, and now the bases are loaded again. Nobody out. 2 hits and a walk, and the big boys are coming up for the Cubs.
Yeah, the pitching for the Brewers so far tonight, either missing off the plate or getting too much of it. Not able to find the corners too well. And with nobody out, the Cubs aren't going to risk sending Fowler.
Coghlan's been on twice. Rizzo drove in a run with a double his last time up. This guy's turning into one of the toughest outs in the big leagues right now. He hits for average, for power, On-base percentage over 400.
He's got a good eye at the plate. Knows that strike zone as well as anybody. Just dares you to come inside.
Rizzo with the bases full. Thornburg desperately needing a ground ball here, but he's fallen behind 2 balls and no strikes.
That's really been the story tonight on the mound for Milwaukee. Getting behind just about every hitter.
Rizzo has an OPS right now of 938. That's top 10 in the major leagues. He's 8th overall in the major leagues, and it's 3-0 with the bases loaded. The cleanup hitter is up, and you can bet if he gets one he likes, he's going to be swinging, especially up 4-1. Bryant on deck. Ball 4. Thornburg doesn't have it tonight. Bullpen's quiet for now. And a run is in on a bases loaded walk to Rizzo. His 2nd run batted in.
Back-to-back innings with 3 walks issued by Brewers pitching. And Rick Kranitz, a lonely feeling for a pitching coach, trying to get strikes out of his pitchers. It's all about rhythm out there on the mound. And Thornburg didn't have it, or doesn't have it, and neither did Taylor Youngman.
3rd straight inning, the Cubs have had the bases loaded. So a run is in, still bases loaded with nobody out. Here's Chris Bryant. Had a double in the 2nd. He walked, stole a base in the 3rd. Bryant spent the first 2.5 weeks in the minor leagues this season. Although he had a great spring, he had huge numbers in the Cactus League, and a lot of Cubs fans are clamoring for his arrival to the big leagues and asking that he make the team out of spring training. That did not happen. I think the Cubs initially were trying to get to that about the 6-week mark, when you try to buy an extra year under control. They call it a Super 2 when you're up early. So there's a percentage of players that come up early, their first time up, and then they become eligible for free agency a year earlier. So typically it's the 3rd year, but in these cases, like guys like Bryant or when Troy Tulowitzki came up, they're called Super 2s because they're up in that percentage of the first group of guys to the major leagues. Well, the Cubs just couldn't wait any longer. So they brought him up, and Bryant has just been great ever since.
And the thing that surprised you about Chris Bryant, I mean, you knew he was going to hit when he came up here, but his defense has been pretty good. Got off to a slow start, had some errors, but made a couple of nice plays tonight.
His batting average has slipped a little bit in the last month, but power numbers are there. Made the All-Star team this season. And he has reached base in 10 consecutive games for the Cubs here recently. That's a swing and a miss. He chased one. So Thornburg strikes him out. First out of the inning, and now a double play and clean up the mess.
There's Tyler Thornburg, and that's what he does when he's going well. I mean, he's not afraid to throw the fastball. I think when he came in this inning, at least, missing a lot of breaking pitches, some sliders, change ups, and just decided to go right after Chris Bryant and got him on strikes. Still the best pitch in baseball, the fastball.
Here's Soler now. Strike 1 to him. Curveball. And a fastball fooled him. He was looking for something else, and Thornburg stuck one right in there in the strike zone.
Man, right on the inside corner. Good pitch right after a curveball.
0-2 the count on Soler.
Well, maybe the curveball in the dirt. Maybe have him chase a high fastball here.
Jammed him. Fouls it away. Cubs think Soler is going to develop into a 20 to 30 home run performer in the big leagues. Right now he's a line drive hitter. It's interesting listening to Joe Madden. He's saying we need to get a little tilt in the swing. We need to get him to hit that bottom half of that baseball.
Get him to uppercut. That was George Bamberger's phrase coming into that dugout. Let's get the uppercutting, boys.
Soler has 5 home runs this year. Signed a long-term deal. He's from Cuba, so he signed a major league contract. And that's one thing the Cubs have plenty of, is money to go do deals like that. And Soler was one of those big deals.
Almost hit one right through Taylor Youngman his first time up.
He's a big dude. Missed inside. 2-2. Soler is 6'4", 215. And his contract is a 9-year deal. Signed a 9-year deal out of Cuba. $30 million. So if he turns into the player that they think he will, that'll be a bargain. A lot of risk and a lot of reward.
Kind of reminds you a lot of Glenn Braggs. Remember Braggs?
Yeah, it's a good call.
Big, strong. I mean, not an ounce of fat on him.
Jermaine Dye.
Yeah. Got about as wide a stance as you'll see anybody in the big leagues.
I'm guessing 2-strike approach wasn't really in the job description for Soler playing for the Cuban national team. That was a big hack. Bases loaded, 1 out. Thornburg needs 1 on the ground, and that's up and in. That hit him. Had him right on the wrist. Another run will score. And this one's getting uglier by the moment. Soler looks like he's all right. It is now 6-1 Cubs.
Tried to come up and in, got him right on the forearm, and 92 miles an hour.
Third time he's been hit by a pitch this year.
And no chance to get out of the way of that one. You could see him just below the elbow, and as strong as he is, I doubt that's going to hurt too bad.
Kyle Loesch getting loose. Thornburg having a tough time getting through the 4th here. He got 1 out in the 3rd. 2 runs are in. The bases are still loaded. 1 man out. And Montero takes a strike.
All these base runners last couple of innings, and the Cubs have all but 2 hits.
Right. Sac fly, an error at the plate, a walk, and a hit batter at plated runs. The 2 hits that led to runs were Soler's single and Rizzo's double.
6 walks and a hit batter, right? All those base runners.
And the Cubs have now scored 5 or more runs in 6 of their last 7 games. In the middle of this hot streak where they've won 10 of 11. Swing and a miss. Thornburg with a strikeout. Both of his outs are Ks.
And both coming up fastballs, and blew it right by Montero. Got Chris Bryant on a fastball. And now Montero right down the middle.
Here's Dan Herron. He walked his last time up. The pitcher. That was Youngman's last hitter. I'm sure Craig Counsell would rather Loesch start a clean inning as opposed to bringing him in with runners on base. And I'm sure this is a night when Loesch is feeling like he could reestablish himself a little bit. 3-1 to Dan Herron. Where walks are maddening for a ball club. Bases loaded, hitters count. And Herron pops it foul. That's what we saw last time up for Herron. He got into a full count. He kept fouling pitches off, and eventually Youngman walked him. Full count. Runners go. Herron grounds one to third. Nice easy hop for Herrera. And that'll retire the side. But the Cubs score 2 more runs. And they now lead 6-1. Brewers are coming up.
Digger's Hotline. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig. Digger's Hotline. Back at Wrigley Field, the 50-50 raffle is presented by Northwestern Mutual. Is held every home game at Miller Park, and fans love it. Over the last 5 years, Brewers Community Foundation has sold more than 150 miles of tickets, enough to stretch from Miller Park to Lambeau Field. The largest jackpot was $37,000. So look for the orange T-shirt 50-50 sellers throughout the park and get your $2 raffle tickets next time you're at Miller Park. And BCF thanks you for supporting more than 200 organizations that focus on health, education, recreation, and basic needs.
All right, Sophia, thanks. And here we go to the Brewer half of the 5th inning. Logan Schaefer will lead off. It's his first start of the season, or of his return season to the big leagues. He made a few starts before he was sent down. And with Ryan Braun out, Schaefer gets a chance to play center field, his natural position.
He made 7 starts before he got sent down, all in center field this year. Started swinging the bat a little bit better than he did when he was first here early in the year.
Schaefer glad to have the playing time. He's been swinging the bat well off the bench. He's had some nice at bats, key hits as a pinch hitter. That's something he didn't do very well first time around and throughout his career. We mentioned Braun, who's out here tonight. Sophia has more on that story. It sounded like Craig Counsell is expecting Braun to be back in the lineup tomorrow. Sophia, what ails him right now?
Yes, that's what he indicated before the game, that the back has continued to bother Ryan since the San Francisco series. So the plan was just to get him 2 days off to get past some of that lingering back stiffness. So with the off day yesterday, a day off today, they're hoping he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow.
And Craig was saying before the ball game that he might even use him as a pinch hitter if need be. But at this rate, it might be a full day off for Ryan Braun, unless the Brewers get something going. Lineup just has a completely different feel to it when he's not in the lineup.
Yep, no doubt.
You know, that element that he gives you, the power and the opposite field stroke, it's just a different look to the lineup. It just doesn't look as intimidating without Braun in there.
Jason Rogers pinch hitting. That'll be the end of the night for Thornburg. Inning and a third for Thornburg, giving up 2 runs. Rogers, another guy getting a chance here in the big leagues again. Herron makes quick work of him, strikes him out. Back-to-back Ks. Schaefer and Rogers go down.
I think Rogers thought that was up in the zone. Hey, the Brewers post-game concert series presented by Miller Lite continues this Saturday as the Goo Goo Dolls perform a free full-length concert following the Brewers matchup against the Phillies. Get your tickets today at brewers.com/concerts. Goo Goo Dolls at Miller Park.
You putting on a big shindig again, the big booth party, the rock booth party. Those are becoming legendary.
There was one,
and it was legendary.
It was good. It was good. It's gonna be more laid back.
It's a very prestigious invite. It's like a Willy Wonka ticket. We're all waiting for that golden ticket.
The gold ticket.
Mine hasn't come yet. Have you sent them yet?
I have. They're all verbal. It's not my booth. I mean, you're more than welcome to stick around and
I don't think so.
Maybe help me down there on the big money moment down in the point, down in the corner.
Is that where you're going?
And I have to come back for the concert.
Strike call. Dan Herron strikes out the side. 3 up, 3 down. Herron is through 5, just 1 run. down 6-1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Our Carsoup.com trivia. Which Brewers radio broadcaster team with Bob Uecker the longest? Neither one of those two. Jeff Levering, his first year. Joe Block, year 4. Jim Powell is the winner. He outlasted Pat Hughes by 1 season.
Yeah.
Pat Hughes, the lead radio voice of the Cubs. Powell is the lead radio voice of the Atlanta Braves. And here's Kyle Loesch. And he is going to try to give the Brewers as many innings as possible. And knowing Loesch, this is one of those days where you know he'd like to finish this one off.
Yeah, and Kyle Loesch, a lot of pride in what he does, and he would certainly like to help the ball club out tonight. 2 scoreless innings out of the bullpen. First time in a long time for Loesch working out of the pen. Last Friday against the Cardinals. His last relief appearance came way back on 2009. September 8th, 2009 for Kyle Loesch before his appearance on Friday.
Yeah, that was really a one and done situation with the Cardinals where he just was between a long stretch of starts. It was a bunch of off days. So he really hasn't operated in a relief role since the 2006 season. And a swing and a miss by Russell for a strikeout. Good way to start the night for Loesch. Well, these could be key innings for him, though. The Brewers are down 5, trying to reestablish something on the mound. Loesch is certainly one of those guys. He's in the final year of his contract, and there are a lot of contending teams that, even in the waiver wire transaction period, are interested to know what kind of finishing kick Loesch has. He's a veteran guy that could certainly help a team in a pennant race right now. I think the Brewers would probably like to trade him because it gives Loesch a chance to finish this particular contract with a contender, and you get something in return. But if you don't trade him, one thing the Brewers say about Loesch is that he's great with the young pitchers. He's a mentor. He's constantly working with them, not just between the lines and on the mound, but how to act, how to be a big leaguer. And with a really young, inexperienced pitching staff, that can be extremely valuable moving forward as well.
Man, it's been tough on him this year, though. I mean, that's all well and good, and when you're not pitching well and you feel as though you're letting your team down, it's much more difficult to take that leadership role. But Loesch has continued to help out in any way he can, and certainly tonight is one of those ways he can help.
Well, good movement there on the changeup. Full count. Dexter Fowler at the plate. Youngman and Thornburg struggle tonight. Cubs lead 6-1. And that one misses low, and another walk for Fowler. He's got a sac fly tonight, now 2 walks. And a base runner for Loesch with Schwarber coming up. Schwarber walked and scored last time up, last inning. He's 0 for 2. He had a long fly ball out. Sent Logan Schaefer back to the ivy in center field. On most nights, a home run. This guy takes a rip, but it's a controlled, powerful swing, though.
A short, compact swing, but he puts everything behind it when he does decide to go. And Loesch starts him out with a changeup. Got ahead in the count. That reminds a little bit of the Chris Davis approach. I mean, not a whole lot of movement. He stands up there very relaxed. But when that baseball's on its way and he's ready to swing, look out. Very aggressive swing of the baseball.
Well, he's made very quick adjustments to his swing to get big league ready. He was just drafted last season. He was in the last June draft out of Indiana University. Originally from Ohio. and then played his college ball in Bloomington. And after being the 4th pick, I'm sure he wasn't necessarily in Joe Madden's plans, but here he is, and he's a big part of what they're doing right now. There's not a big sample size with Schwarber, but the Brewers have enough to feel like a shift is necessary. So they put 3 infielders on the right side. Herrera's the lone infielder on the left side. One thing the Brewers do have in Herrera, even though he's a third baseman, he's a shortstop by trade, so this is not unfamiliar grounds for him.
Yeah, he's not out of position at all.
Sometimes you worry about the awkward double play in this configuration. And there's a ground ball right to Herrera. Tough hop, bobbles, and throws it away. Man, there's not a whole lot more to say about this game. Brewers are just dreadful defensively right now. Their 3rd error, that should have ended the inning.
He should have taken it himself. No reason to flip it over to Segura. If he takes it himself, he's probably going to be able to turn the double play. Kind of caught in between. He shovels it over to Segura, not even close.
So that's an E5. And Schwarber reaches on a fielder's choice and can't assume a double play, but that should have Loesch and the Brewers in the dugout right now. Yeah, Brewers did not come to play defensively here tonight, and it has cost them big time. 2 errors in the 2nd inning. Now an error that allows Coughlin to hit with 1 out and runners at 1st and 2nd. And we got a chance here. That's Jeanette to Segura, and Loesch cleans it up. Boy, a hard slide out at second base by Schwarber as those 2 tumble, but the inning is over. And the series is brought to you by Digger's Hotline. Know what's below? Call 811 before you dig. Digger's Hotline. By the way, Rock, today our friends at If Management in New York, who represented Darryl Hamilton, they put on a golf tournament, the first annual golf tournament to try to raise money. Our friend and colleague left us way too soon, and the fund was established to provide immediate and continuing support for his 3 sons. And so the website there, Darryl Q. Hamilton Fund, is available. They had a golf tournament today. They raised a bunch of money, and you can donate as well if you choose. He's left 3 sons, and it's going to be a long road for them. And we still think about Darryl and his family, and we miss him. That was a tough loss earlier this year, back in June.
Loved the game of baseball, but not nearly as much as he loved those 3 kids. And a sad story early this year. He's missed seeing him, missed talking to him.
So again, DarylQHamiltonFund.com. There's a yellow tab you can donate. We'd love for you to participate in that. Chris Davis starts it. 6th inning. And Dan Herron in his Cubs debut at Wrigley Field is pitching well. 5 innings, 1 run. Joe Maddon has taken this opportunity to get Starlin Castro some work at second base. And if there was any doubt who is the starting shortstop for the contending Cubs, this pretty much clears it up right here. That is Addison Russell.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Starlin Castro handles this whole thing. I mean, who would have thought at this point in the season that this would be the case for Starlin Castro as Chris Davis draws a walk? Yeah, working out at second base today, and he's been the everyday shortstop for quite some time here in Chicago, and now all of a sudden without a job and trying to work his get some work in at second base to see if he's going to be good enough over there to be able to play. My guess is he's going to be.
And the idea is that if you want the playing time, you're going to have to play the position, and I think that's what the Cubs are wanting to find out more than anything. This is his first career game at second base.
Yeah, the toughest thing for him is going to be turning that double play. I mean, for a shortstop, he's been a shortstop his whole life. You know, coming across, you can see the runner coming at you, and you're blind over at second base. We'll see if he's going to be able to hang in there, you know, in those collisions at second on the double play.
Lynn fouls it away. Starlin Castro has 838 games as a shortstop. His first career game at second base, and all that he's been through, he's led the league in hits. He's been an all-star. He's 25 years of age. I mean, there's plenty of time. He's in the middle of a long-term deal. Cubs are trying to get something out of Castro, but if he does show up and he can be the kind of presence that he's been in the past, can you imagine what kind of support that would bring the Cubs off the bench?
And maybe just a focus thing, maybe a wake-up call for Starlin Castro. I don't know. Joe Maddon knows for sure, and he will be a good player again, no doubt about that. He's young enough. He's going to be able to bounce back from this, I would imagine.
Lynn sends one deep right center, and he's watching this one fly. Home run for Adam Lind. A 2-run shot. That was a bomb out of here. Number 17 for Adam Lind.
And the Brewers right back in it.
It is 6-3. Cubs lead by 3.
As poorly as things have gone tonight, Adam Lind just got him right back in this game. A breaking pitch. Adam Lind goes down and gets it on Marshfield Clinic's shining moment of the game at this point. And Adam Lind home run to get him right back in it, down by 3 now. The wind has stopped blowing here at Wrigley Field, so that was way back out there in right center.
He's got a good stroke going right now. That home run swing. 17 on the year now. Lucroy, who is lined out twice. And if there are baseball gods out there, then you'd expect to see a broken bat flare fall for a hit into right field right now.
A little flare over Rizzo's head.
Lucroy's hit 2 bullets for outs, almost in the same spot. This was Lucroy in the second inning leading off. Rizzo guarding the line, took a double away, and then that was the line drive out in the 4th inning. One-two to Lucroy. Count remains the same. Cubs have activity now in their bullpen. Aaron working in his 6th inning. His pitch count is low, 76 pitches. Former starter Travis Wood is in the bullpen. We are in the land of Lincoln, are we not, in Illinois?
Yeah.
Dan Herron's got the Abraham Lincoln going right now. He's trying to bring that back, make it fashionable. Huh?
Yeah, I see it.
That's a starter set for Abe Lincoln right there. No mustache, full beard. There's only certain guys who can get away with that. Lucroy thought he was rung up. Herron thought he had a strikeout.
I wonder if Dan Herron's ever been compared to Abe Lincoln.
He has now.
He has now. There we go. Who is that now? ZZ Top?
That's bordering on that. That's more Zach Brown to me as Lucroy strikes out. So Herron now with 6 Ks. And Joe Maddon's on his way out. So with Jeanette and Herrera coming up. Jeanette the lefty, Herrera the switch hitter. Madden's going to make the move. And Herron will exit to a standing ovation at Wrigley. Back in this at 6-3. Playing the 6th inning with 1 away. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong Fan photo of the game. It comes from Dina. Dina is happy. She got her Major League t-shirt on. I'm assuming that was from Major League night. Good work, Dina. Thank you for that. Don't forget to include the hashtag #WisDataStrongFan. And it's all brought to you by T-Mobile. So rocking to be Travis Wood. Out of the bullpen for Dan Herron.
He's made 7 starts, but has been much better out of the bullpen. He's got a .338 earned run average in 26 relief appearances.
And facing Jeanette with 1 away. Jeanette is retired on the first pitch he sees from Wood. 2 outs now.
Joe Maddon doesn't mess around, does he? I mean, any sign of trouble, any opportunity for the opponent to get back in the game, and he's pulling pitchers pretty quickly. Dan Herron going 5 1/3, 3 runs, and bringing on Travis Wood. He's got 2 starters that he allows to go pretty deep in games. That's John Lester and Arrieta. Everybody else has a pretty quick hook.
That's one thing about the Cubs. They have 2 horses at the top of their rotation. Arrieta's emerged into a star. He beat the Giants on Sunday here. He's got a long consecutive scoreless inning streak. It's into the 20s now. Lester's the ace because of his pedigree and his postseason past, but Arrieta's got a chance to win a Cy Young Award this year. And the way it's going now, unless you have a lights out bullpen, which the Cubs do not, you're going to need 2 at the top of your rotation to match up with the opponent's top 2. And if you're looking at teams like the Dodgers with Kershaw and Greinke, that's when things can get tough quick in a postseason, especially in a 5-game series.
And the way the games are spread out, you only need 2, 3 maybe. 3 starters in the postseason is all you need.
Madden has been to the World Series with the Rays. Many postseason appearances. Strike called. Wood punches out Herrera to end the inning. So he comes on. Madden makes a move, gets 2 quick outs, but not before Adam Lynn sends one out of here. Into the bleachers in right. 6-3 Cubs. The Brewers are right back in it.
To 3, and all fans at Miller Park this Sunday, August 16th, against the Phillies. We'll get a special bobblehead commemorating Jonathan Lucroy's record-setting 2014 season. That's courtesy of Quick Trip. Call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com for tickets.
Kyle Loesch back on the mound. He came in out of the bullpen in relief of Tyler Thornburg. He worked a scoreless 5th inning, got a double play to end the 5th after an error. Good way to pick up his defense. Let's see if the Brewers can sharpen up here. Milwaukee down 6-1, and then a 2-run homer by Lynn to make it 6-3. And if Loesch can keep the Cubs off the scoreboard, let's see if the Brewers can put some runs on the board. There's a good changeup. Loesch had Rizzo way out in front.
Yeah, keeping that baseball down the way he is, that changeup. That's been one of the issues that Loesch has had this year. Off-speed pitches up. That's why he's given up so many home runs this year. So far tonight, able to keep it down in the strike zone.
Yeah, he looks good tonight. All of his stuff looks crisp. That's hit hard, but the shift is on. Wow, right past. Scooter Gennett just undressed him. Even though he is in the grass in right field, Rizzo rips one to right, his 2nd hit.
It'd be easy to say up here he should have had it, but it was right at him pretty much. A little bit of a hop off to the side, and Scooter will tell you probably should have been able to keep it in the glove. That ball was hit like a bullet.
And Gennett is upset at himself. Rizzo on base for the 3rd time tonight. Here's Chris Bryant. For the most part this year, the Brewers have had a handle on Bryant. Coming into play tonight, he was just 3 for 32 against Milwaukee pitching and 17 strikeouts. He does have a double tonight. He scored a run after his double in the 2nd. And he drew a walk, had a steal, but he did strike out his last time up. On the ground to short, Segura's got it, fired to Gennett, over to first, and a double play.
Well, Kyle Loesch has the double play ball working tonight. It's always a good sign. Means those off-speed pitches are staying down in the zone, and Another hard hit ball, but this time right at Segura. Couple of hops and an easy double play.
2 double plays Loesch has induced. And 2 away with nobody on. 6th inning. Here is Jorge Soler.
And Brewers one of the top teams in the National League in turning double plays this year. That's 108 now. It's always a good news, bad news statistic, right?
It is, yeah. A lot of base runners.
A lot of men on, a lot of hard hit grounders.
Another good changeup from Loesch. Loesch really has the off speed going so far. That's Soler a mile ahead of that one. 1-2 the count now. Soler singled in a run in the second off Youngman. Had an RBI after being hit by a pitch with the bases loaded his last time up. Youngman started 2 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, only 2 were earned. Thornburg went an inning and a third, allowed 2 runs, both earned. And now Loesch in his second inning. And a strike called outside corner. Loesch strikes out Soler to end the inning, and 2 strong innings by Kyle Loesch. A couple of double plays, and changeup is dialed in right now. You're just dialing us up. Soler and the Cubs out to a fast start here today. Soler drove in a run with a single. Cubs scored 3 runs in the second inning. Anthony Rizzo added an RBI double in the third. But Adam Lind with a 2-run home run that came last inning in the 6th. And that has made the score 6-3. The Brewers down 3. And the Brew Crew coming up here in the 7th. Travis Witt came on to get the final 2 outs in relief of Dan Herron last inning. And Wood will begin an inning here in the 7th with Gene Segura leading off. Brewers need base runners and maybe a couple of big flies. Started this game with the wind blowing in, and pretty strong. It was a pretty strong wind, maybe up to 10-12 miles per hour. It kept a few long fly balls in the ballpark, and then it died down a little bit, and Lind was able to hit one out. The wind is blowing straight down. Inside, almost hit him. Full schedule of big league games tonight. The Mets won again Matt Harvey beat the Colorado Rockies. Harvey went 8 shutout innings for the Mets tonight. He's 11-7 now. Mets keep rolling.
It's going to be a good race down the stretch.
Those are the newcomers in it, right? The Cubs, the Mets. Quite a story brewing in New York at Citi Field. The Mets have a game-and-a-half lead over the Washington Nationals starting play today. Nats are just underway in Los Angeles facing Greinke tonight at Dodger Stadium. So conceivable that the Mets could go up 2.5.
Yeah, Brewers play the Nationals in the beginning of the next road trip.
There's Neil Kotz getting loose in the Brewers pen.
3-game series in the nation's capital.
Had a good series in San Francisco starting tonight. Giants have a stretch of games now. I believe it's the next 20 games they'll play contending teams. And it starts with the Astros tonight. Giants have Madison Bumgarner on the mound. Right now, the Cubs lead the Giants for that second wild card spot. Pirates are in the wild card 1. And then the Cubs, and then San Francisco. Segura in the right center field. On the run, Soler. He's got it. Out number 1. All those big league games, you can catch all those highlights tonight on Fox Sports Live. It's on Fox Sports 1. Got some action from NFL training camps as well, and everything else. All the major news from the world of sports. Fox Sports Live tonight on Fox Sports 1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. Here's Logan Schaefer with one away. Well, now that this is a 3-run deficit, Counsell sensing the Brewers might have a chance to come back. So Loesch is out after 2 scoreless. And it looks like Counsell's going to bring on a pinch hitter. Is Schaefer. That's knocked down Castro. And the throw not there. It was a short hop. And Schaefer able to beat it out. Should be an infield hit. And it will be. Logan Schaefer with his first hit of the night.
Better be a hit. That would have been a nice play by Castro. And I think Schaefer would have beat that even had Rizzo been able to keep the ball in his glove. Would have been bang bang, but Rizzo not able to hold on to it. Yep, he'd have been safe. Good speed by Schaefer. He gets a base hit.
And Ryan Braun is going to be sent up and announced as a pinch hitter. Not sure if this is the decoy or not. Braun's been out with a back problem. And that's going to force the hand of Joe Madden here. So Braun announced. Madden goes and makes a pitching change to get the matchup he wants. And it looks like Braun's going to remain in the game. Counsell going to take a shot at one here. Pitching change. We'll take a break. Maybe a couple back with a home run. Ryan Braun will pinch hit. And Justin Grimm is the new Chicago pitcher, late inning reliever now for the Cubs. He's had a nice year.
He's picked up a few saves, and this time working early tonight in the 7th inning. And look at the strikeouts for Grimm. 43 punchouts in 30 innings, and he's got a 150 earned run average. Got the big fastball and a slider to go with it.
Big spot, runner at first, and Braun able to take the first one. Now Madden's got interchangeable parts in his bullpen. He's got Tommy Hunter and Jason Mott. His closer is Rondon. Stroke can be used in late leverage situations. He's created a very flexible bullpen, and they're hoping that all of these guys can settle into their roles now that Rondon has reestablished himself as the closer. They've had their difficulty in the bullpen. Braun trying to add to it. Counsell said, and Sophia reported earlier, that Braun would be back in the starting lineup tomorrow and would be available to pinch hit. And I think Counsell may be thinking this is the time to do it. See if you can try to get a long ball and a quick strike here.
My first 2 pitches sliders.
1 ball, 1 strike. And that was by a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. Grimm came to the Cubs a couple of years ago. He was in the Matt Garza deal, and they traded Garza to the Rangers. So the theme with the Cubs is, you see what they've done. They've got some homegrown players, but they made a lot of trades to acquire pieces as well that are all surfacing in the big leagues together. Snap throw to first. Schaefer is back. It's one of the things the Brewers are hoping to accomplish by all the trades they made this year, and most of those players are at the AA level.
And you might see some more in the offseason. You don't know. I don't think they're done.
2-2 the count on Braun. And he hits that one high in the air, center field. And that's going to stay in. Hit it a long way. Fowler makes a catch. Schaefer will tag and end up at second base. And Braun with a long, loud out to center field.
Yeah, barreled it up, but just got under it. Hey, tonight's time of the game winner, the filling station in Florence. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game for 2015. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Back to the top of the order. And Madden's going to let it ride against the lefty Peterson, who's hit lefties well this year. And so he keeps his right-hander in, and Grimm deals him strike one.
Counsell's got all of his left-handed hitters in the lineup tonight. 4 lefties and a switch hitter. Nothing but right-handers on the bench. He's got Maldonado and Perez left.
Madden had Russell loosening, his lefty, but has decided not to use him here. I suppose if Adam Lynn comes up in this inning, and then you'd see Russell on the right side. The right-hander is Tommy Hunter. He stopped throwing for the time being. And he missed. 2-2.
Pretty good slider. Yeah. That's a good take by Peterson right there. Late breaking, sharp, going straight down. imagine Grimm a little surprised he didn't get a swing on that pitch.
Joe Madden pacing in that Cubs dugout. Not a lot of room to pace, but he's found a little anyway. Aaron started. He was out in the 6th inning. Grimm with Logan Schaefer at second base and a huge swing by Peterson to end the inning. Brewers come up empty. They burn Braun. 6-3 Cubs. We head to the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs had a 6-1 lead. Out in the rest of Major League Baseball, the red-hot Toronto Blue Jays. How about that effort by Russell Martin? He missed it. He overran it. But the Toronto Blue Jays have won 9 straight games. I mean, it's very impressive athleticism, but had only he caught the ball,
would have been even nicer, wouldn't it?
Blue Jays won 4-2. They won 9 in a row. They are soaring toward the Yankees in the American League East. Blue Jays started the day just a game and a half back.
Have they even lost when Tulowitzki's played? I think I heard somewhere today they're like 12-0 when he's playing for the Blue Jays. Is that possible?
Yeah, with Tulowitzki in the lineup, they're 12-0.
Right.
They lost when he wasn't in the lineup.
Right, that's what I said.
When he's in there, it's been a huge change of culture there for the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're packing the Rogers Center. Yankees are currently in extra innings with the Indians. They're tied at 4. So it's conceivable that the Blue Jays could be a half game behind the Yankees at the end of the night after winning their 9th straight. Blue Jays and Cubs, the 2 hottest teams. Kotz comes in. His first batter faced ends up in a strikeout. Miguel Montero.
Kotz has been good. I'm surprised there wasn't any interest in Neil Kotz at the trading deadline. He's been extremely good since about the first week in May. Most of his problems this year came in the beginning part of the season at a rough spring training. April wasn't very good to him. He's been good since.
Pinch hitter here, Chris Denorfia.
Good job by Kyle Loesch tonight.
Yeah, 2 scoreless. Got a couple of double plays. Calmed the game down, giving the Brewers a fighting chance here tonight. Kotz, a former Cub, pitched for the White Sox as well. A great story of perseverance. Neil Kotz had a major hip injury, surgery, and then had an infection and got very serious for Neil Kotz. He thought his baseball career was going to be over, but he fought the long way back, and the Rangers gave him a chance, signed him with bad medicals. Even though they knew he was hurt, they decided to give him a shot, and he was great for him. That was 2 years ago. And then he started in the minor leagues in AAA. Dominated left-handed batters. Matter of fact, he did not give up a hit to a left-handed batter until July of that season. Went up to the big leagues. He continued there. And then had a decent year for him last year. Brewers were able to sign him as a free agent. He's an Illinois native. Went to Illinois State. Pitching in his home state. Jam shot. Denorfia. Jeanette is back, and he's got it for the out. 2 away.
And Kotz has got a opponent batting average against lefty. He's at 198 or 189. Pretty good still.
He's from Illinois and had the chance to pitch for both teams here, the White Sox and the Cubs.
Hey, the Wisconsin State Fair is in full swing, and with the Fair Days double play, you can get a Brewers ticket and a ticket to the Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. That's all for just $15. Go to brewers.com/state fair. I was there Monday.
Were you now?
I was.
Sign some autographs?
I did not.
Have a few cream puffs?
I did not.
You sign any cream puffs?
Nope. Kate and I took the granddaughter. Had a good time.
Watching the State Fair through the eyes of a child.
Had a corn dog and a roasted piece of roasted corn.
A corn dog and a roasted corn.
Right. Yep. 2 things you got to have at State Fair.
Yeah, you can eat those with one hand.
And it didn't even rain on us. It was rain before, rain after. Perfectly timed by the wife.
It's the Bill Schroeder favor is what that is. Only to special members of the Brewers Wall of Honor does that happen. Everybody else thanks you.
Rained hard yesterday. Got in the car, it started coming down. Good timing. Timing's everything, you know. Could have ruined the whole day.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Russell, is he hit by the pitch? Yes, he is. And that one got him on the hand, and that one has stung him a little bit. Russell hit by a pitch. Checking his wrist. He's got a look of concern on his face. And he will remain in the game. That cut fastball of Kotz got him right on the
wrist bone, looked like.
So a hit batter with 2 outs. Brewers pitching tonight, 7 walks and 2 hit batters. Cubs have 7 hits. Scored 3 runs in the second. Only 1 of those was earned. Added 1 in the third and then 2 more in the fourth.
Yeah, 3 of the walks have come around to score a difference in the game.
Ground ball to third base. Fowler, the switch hitter, and that will retire the side. Good work for the former Cub, Neil Kotz. Brewers are coming up, 8th inning. They're down 3. Milwaukee to empower girls to be healthy and confident. Join us for the Girls on the Run Fall 5K. That's on Sunday, November 15th. That'll be at Bayshore Town Center in Glendale. To register, visit foxsportswisconsin.com and click on the upcoming events tab. Pedro Strop, next man up for the Chicago Cubs.
And another hard thrower, last pitch on the 8th against the Giants. A scoreless inning that included a couple of strikeouts. Strop has got 10 consecutive scoreless outings. Overall, very good numbers for the hard throwing right-hander.
A former Baltimore Oriole. There's a few of them on this team. And Strop has the 8th in a 3-run lead. Chris Davis with a big swing to start the inning. Justin Grimm working in the 7th inning. Travis Wood came in for Herron. That was in the 6th. Brewers scored twice in the 6th inning on a 2-run homer by Lind. That made it 6-3. And only an infield hit since by Logan Schaefer with the Cubs bullpen. Cubs pitching staff is the reason they are here. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of headlines about their young stars, but really it's the pitching staff the reason that they are 14 games over 500 and in a wild card position right now. Problem with the Cubs, they're still 8.5 games back. The Cubs have the 4th best record in baseball right now, but the 3 teams or 2 of the teams ahead of them are in their same division. So they're fighting for a wild card spot. And a swing and a miss. Davis down on strikes.
Yeah, the Cubs with their 62 victories would be in first place in 4 other divisions.
Yep.
Tough draw.
Only the Royals have a better record than the Cubs in the American League. And then you got the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Dodgers with better records in the National League. Although the Cubs have a higher winning percentage than the Dodgers, same amount of wins.
2 less losses.
The Cubs have won 10 of their last 11. They've had 2 4-game sweeps, including a sweep of the Brewers at the end of July and on into August. That was a 4-gamer in Milwaukee. And the Brewers only scored 8 runs in that 4-game series. And then the Cubs swept the Giants, the reigning world champs. They completed that sweep behind Arrieta on Sunday.
He's got a lot to do with it, Joe Madden.
1-2 to Lind. Out to second base. Castro is there, and his first out chance as a second baseman, playing in his first game at the position. 2 up, 2 down. Lind hit his 17th home run tonight. He's on the Powerball home run leaderboard. Ron sitting on 19, had a pinch hit appearance and flew out. Two outs for Lucroy in the 8th. Cubs have used Dan Herron, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs in his Wrigley Field Cubs debut. Wood win a scoreless inning. Grimm and Strop now. And it all sets up for Hector Rondon, who's reestablished as the Cubs closer. Lucroy was late.
That's an easy 96 right there. Effortless.
There's Rondon.
Doesn't look too dialed in, does he?
Not yet. Don't peek too soon.
Making after the game plans, perhaps.
That'll stay foul. Cubs have 6 different pitchers with saves this year. Rondon has 19, but they've used Grimm in that role, as Rock mentioned. Strop has a couple of saves. Mott's a former closer, and he's got 6 saves this year. Nobody's really stepped up to be that dominant force as the closer. Rondon is the best option, but he has blown 3 saves, and Madden took him out of that role for a little while.
Yeah, Strope's got a couple of saves. Tommy Hunter's 1 save since his trade to the Cubs came at Miller Park.
I thought that was a nice pickup. Yeah, that was his first game as a Cub.
Yeah,
Hunter. That was that one big power arm that can give them more depth. And the Cubs are content to carry 8 relievers. That's going to be their game. They're going to have 4 bench players. They're going to carry 8 relievers, and
everybody does now.
Lucroy strikes out. Strop works a scoreless 8. Couple of Ks. It's always got a nice little nugget. We are in the bottom of the 8th at Wrigley, and the Cubs lead it 6-3. Kyle Schwarber leads off. Castro to follow, and then Anthony Rizzo. Neil Kotz trying to give Counsell a couple of innings. Well, maybe there's a reason Hector Rondon looks so relaxed. Perhaps he knows that he's not in the closer's role tonight. Joe Madden believes in the mental break, especially for late inning high leverage relievers.
Well, Jeanette leading off the 9th. Left-hander, Herrera the switch hitter.
You got Russell and Mott loosening. Probably see Russell to face Jeanette.
Well, little unorthodox, right? I mean, the way Joe Maddon's working his bullpen, but it seemed to be working.
Yeah, I was talking to Craig Counsell about this notion, and the Brewers are certainly locked in with their closer, Frankie Rodriguez. He's had a great year. Slow roller. Jeanette's coming in. He shovels it out of his glove for the out. One away. Schwarber retired. Tomorrow we're back at it tomorrow night again. It's another one under the lights at Wrigley. The former Cub Matt Garza against Jason Hamill. 6:30 is airtime on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Miller Lite, what's on tap?
Yeah, Garza's been good since coming off the disabled list.
And we're going to have a pitching change here. Garza the first to greet Neil Kotz. Counsell going to play matchup with Castro coming up. We'll take a break. The game for Neil Kotz. Kotz goes an inning and a third. And with Castro and Rizzo coming up, it'll be Corey Knebel.
Well, numbers for Knebel got roughed up his last time out, a 348 earned run average, but overall Knebel's been pretty good. Well, actually, last time out was good, a perfect ninth inning. It was the outing before that where he gave up some runs.
Be curious to hear from Counsell after the game. You wonder why. I'm sure he removes Kotz from the game to have him available for tomorrow. And faced the left-handed hitter to start the 8th inning. So he got 4 outs and would certainly be available tomorrow. You're trying to get through this game without blowing out your bullpen. Thornburg worked an inning plus, an inning and a third. Loesch went 2. Kotz an inning and a third. After a short start by Taylor Youngman, who did not get through the 3rd inning. So all of the winning relievers, the relievers that Counsell uses when he has a lead, are all available and all fresh. You're just hoping Garza can set that up for you tomorrow, because they'll probably have to pitch no matter what. Will Smith, Jeremy Jeffress, K-Rod. That's the one thing about Garza, though. You saw that image of him. He's always into it. When he's not pitching, days between starts, he's always into the game. He's right there on that top rail.
Rooting on his pitchers, and then when the team's at the plate trying to get him going, not much else you can do as a starting pitcher when they're not working.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, there's a lot of starting pitchers, they disconnect on those 4 days between starts.
Especially the day before they pitch. You're right. But I think it's, yeah, Garza used it an opportunity to start ramping up a little bit, starting to get locked in, focused, you know, watching what the hitters are doing. You're right, though. A lot of them kind of check out.
Starlin Castro pops this one up. And who wants it? Lind. He'll take it. Second out.
Back in the old days, I remember there's going to be some pitchers unnamed on this broadcast that would stick around for the first 3 innings and go home.
Really?
In a game the night before they pitched.
Oh, man. That doesn't feel right. Not that it didn't cross my mind after the 3rd inning today. For you and I.
Things weren't looking too good.
No, they weren't. They're still not, but the Brewers at least are in striking distance after that Lind homer in the 6th.
Yeah, looking better.
Here's Rizzo now. It's been a tough out tonight again. Rizzo on base 3 times, 2 hits and a walk, has 2 runs batted in. He walked with the bases loaded in the 4th, had a double and an RBI in the 3rd. He is developing into a superstar, Anthony Rizzo, and if the Cubs do make it into the postseason, that's when, if he has success, he'll be cemented in that role. Right now, I think he's a top 10 player in the big leagues.
And not a bad defender over at first base. I mean, above average. Decent range, not great, but he can hit.
Just turned 26 over the weekend. And Knebel ties him up. Good fastball in there. 2-2 to Rizzo. For the Brewers in the 9th, it'll be Jeanette Herrera Segura. And Council's already used Braun. Back in there again. Rizzo fouls it away.
That Braun and Rogers already used. He's got Maldonado and Perez.
Look out. That hit him? He's saying it did, and it did. Rizzo leading the majors in hit by pitches. He stands right on top of the plate. That pitch actually wasn't that far off the plate. This is something you can challenge. Council will take a look. You could hear it, though. There was a little double click there.
Hit something.
From the hand of the glove, perhaps.
And his hands hang right over the inside corner. Let's see how close this is to being a strike. Not going to be able to see home plate. It was up and in, but
hit him in the forearm.
Hit him in the forearm.
I mean, that's the way he hits. It's not going to change. But
you stand there, and I think, you know, to his credit, when he gets hit, he doesn't make a big deal about it. I mean, what do you expect pitchers to do, right?
He knows.
Next closest 15.
So here's Bryant with the runner at first. And he spots the fastball down and away. You can always tell when Knebel's had a little rest. He throws bullets in there. 96, 97 miles an hour. Hasn't really been able to pitch on back-to-back days. Even on an every other day pattern.
That's certainly a guy that you can count on for next year, the way he's throwing the baseball. It's all about, you know, his curveball and his ability to throw it for strikes. It's a good pit-away pitch for him. Down in the zone with 2 strikes.
High in the air, left center field. Schaefer is going to have room for this one. And a rainmaker for the final out. Last call for the Brewers. We're on our way to the 9th inning. Down 3. Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. Cubs lead 6-3, top of the ninth, and the Brewers' last call here. And Counsell is going to make a few changes. Brewers have had 3 hit batters tonight, 3 different Brewer relievers. James Russell is out at this moment for a save opportunity. I'm not so sure Madden's going to let him ride, though.
Well, he's got to stay for one hitter.
Now, Counsell has pulled Jeanette back, who is scheduled to lead off. He's going to have Hernan Perez hit. So a pinch hit appearance, a reliever in the game. There is activity in the Cubs bullpen. And Russell will get it started.
And it's probably going to be one and done.
Hernan Perez off the bench for the Brewers. Normally a free swinger early in counts. Perez as a pinch hitter is 4 for 8 as a Brewer. The way Madden is running his bullpen right now, I was talking to Counsell about that at Miller Park, and Counsell, he knows that K-Rod's his closer and that's the way it's got to be, but he says in an ideal scenario you wouldn't have the one closer. You're able to mix and match guys. Perez hits it on the barrel, but right at Fowler for out number 1. That way you're not locked down. You can give guys rest, and as Madden says, you give them an emotional break if they've had 3, 4, maybe 3 out of 5 games where they've been closing games, high stress situations, and you just shut them down. So far it feels like that Madden has done that with Rondon. I mean, the way Rondon was laughing, and
well, maybe just trying to keep him sharp and keep him fresh, down the stretch. Who knows? That would certainly keep closers' salaries down quite a bit.
That's one way to do it.
What do you mean? You only had 23 saves.
But the key in all of that, right, is how that information is delivered. Rondon is their closer, but he's not even in the picture tonight, obviously.
Yeah. With yesterday off.
Right. He had a wild save here Sunday. Loaded the bases in a 2-0 game. Loaded the bases with nobody out, and then he struck out the next 3 hitters for the save and the series sweep of the Giants. Herrera pops this one foul territory. It'll be close down in the Brewers bullpen, and did he make the catch? He did. Starlin Castro. Wow. Well, that's a way to get the fans back on your side. That was a very impressive play.
And he's never had to go down the right field line in foul territory. Of course, he did it quite a bit going to the left field foul area, making that catch right in front of the Brewers bullpen bench.
A lot of moving parts down there.
Nice job. Marcus Hanel doing a good job getting out of the way. And Castro shows it to the first base umpire for the out.
That was something. 2 outs, Brewers down to their last out. Russell stays. Now, of all the Cubs late inning relievers, Russell's the one guy that has not been called on to close a game this year. This would be his first, and has only 3 career saves. Segura into center field, and that's down, a base hit. Brewers stay alive with a single by Segura.
Yeah, he'll stay for one more hitter at least. You got the left-hander Schaefer coming up. Maldonado in the on-deck circle.
Madden checking that card. Mott's ready in the bullpen. Schaefer would love to force Madden's hand here. Brewers need another base runner. They're down 3. Don't forget, a night game tomorrow again on the air at 6:30. And then Thursday is a day game before the Brewers come right back to Miller Park. And a 6-game homestand. Phillies Marlins. Segura takes off. Big swing and a miss by Schaefer. No stolen base for Segura. And the count is 0-2 on Logan.
They're going right after him with fastballs. Ahead 0-2. Let's see what he gives him here.
No balls, 2 strikes. Schaefer in the air, center field. It's hit well, but right at Fowler, and that's the ball game. The Cubs win the opener of this 3-game series, and that is the first save of the year for Russell. His first save since last year, just his 4th career save. Makes a winner out of Dan Herron in his